can do that after you
get this started.
Hey
guys, sorry about that.
Had everything set up, tested it, it's going great. Hit the stream button and it took a shit. What are you gonna do? So this episode, talking about episode 32.
Yep.
Beyond Borders?
Beyond Borders, yeah.
Yeah. Boundaries.
Boundaries.
Beyond Boundaries.
In Tantra thing. I don't know.
Right? So, we really like to start with what we got right and what we got wrong.
Yes.
Right off the bat.
Big one from way back.
Yeah. Well, off the bat was, I pointed out to you you thought that they were going to go through and do the whole
You're right.
do the travel. I was like, no, Matt, montage that like that. They're there, and they went back and did it. So, right and wrong, I guess we'll call it even.
All right.
But because of Caduceus's roles,
yeah,
we learned, it's he wanted to be there.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of implications in that. And I don't know, do we want to talk about the stop in Allfield?
I mean, how much was there in Allfield? Caduceus met Bryce, and they had a drink, and Bryce had to plug his ears for half the conversation.
Yes.
Their ears.
But we did have confirmation that Ford is going to be involving himself in the Solstice Academy. Because Jester was like, well, we can give him the letter he made, and then we can we just have him write another one. And that's what led into the whole conversation. We just forge it. Because Ford was like, well, no, I still kind of want that letter.
Well, he said he had plans for it.
Yeah.
He didn't say he was going to attend.
True. But yeah, other than that, not much happened in Allfield.
Yeah.
Trost and Wilde, however, we got the confirmation about
Gustav,
thank you. I have a headache today. So, I'm probably not going to remember any names anyway. So Gustav. Now, some interesting things surrounding Gustav.
Yes.
And that conversation.
Yeah, there was a lot in that conversation.
Let's hear your thoughts, because I have some of my own.
So, they go in, and Caduceus does his insight mumbo jumbo and says, this guy, gets the whisper. I'm not sure what the whisper was exactly. Of course, none of us are. It was a whisper.
But it was his favorite whisper ever.
Yes. And Caduceus is just like, dude, you need out of here. You need to face up to your past. He's like, what are you talking? Kind of trying to play it off, but obviously very racked at the idea. Yeah. I think he's thinking, is this guy someone they sent to track me down? Is that how he knows all this? It's kind of the vibe I was getting from Gustav.
Which is, I think you're exactly right, because that's probably why Matt made him make an intimidation roll.
Yeah.
When Taliesin wasn't trying to come across that way.
Yeah.
But that's how...
it was being received.
Yeah.
Because he's like, how else would this complete stranger know all this about me?
Yeah.
And there's mention of a debt that he owes, which is more than what this is, but I don't think it's a monetary debt. It's not a monetary debt. And part of me, and there's no grounds for this is just something the heart wants what the heart wants. I want part of the debt to be how Calorie ended up in the circus.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I thought that was pretty evident.
I don't think it was.
Oh, okay. Well, from my standpoint, it was pretty evident.
I think whatever is after him is the people who Calorie was supposed to be with.
Oh, so he was supposed to deliver Calvary to somebody.
Yeah.
Ah. Well, I had not considered that.
Okay.
My thought was he was like one of the options that when we first talked about him wanting to stay, was that he was actually responsible for Calvary being in the service.
Yes.
That he was responsible for the summoning.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's where my mind was. That's who he's afraid of. But one thing that I don't think a lot of people probably noticed was that the time frame that Matt was setting for when he estimated Gustav's debt would be paid.
Okay.
Do you remember what it was?
4 months?
7 to 9 months.
7 to 9 months.
They are in late fall, early winter right now.
Okay.
Which puts that completion in summer.
Okay.
Which is when the Traveler meeting is supposed to happen.
Ah. You think he's...
I think he is an independent in whatever planar struggle is happening.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you crawl and kill it? Just realized we have a sound source, guys. Sorry. They
And that's better.
There we go. Yeah, so we have... It's hard to say if he's a bad guy, because we also don't know where the Dwarven girl...
I still think...
set and all that. And they lost the opportunity to figure... Okay, so... Is he a doppelganger? Because that's the other thought that I had. When Matt was describing him walking away, and that he walked strangely.
Okay, yeah, maybe.
So I was like, okay, so what otherworldly things don't have necessarily a skeletal structure, maybe, or are flexible in that way?
Yeah.
And doppelganger was the first thing that popped into my mind.
I can see that.
But
I'm still convinced that, and I forgot her name, the dwarf girl, is out there and is not a good person.
Yeah.
And we will see again. I'm not as convinced that Gustav is not a good person, as in evil, but I still think it's a distinct possibility.
Yeah. So that was the big thing there. And I was kind of sad that they missed. So everyone's reaction to that proved me right that in the interaction with Gustav originally, they really had no idea. They didn't put any of that stuff together that Matt was laying down.
Yeah.
Because Travis especially was just like...
Yeah. He laid it down back then, and they just picked it up when he explained it.
Yeah. And they missed the opportunity to interrogate the lawmaster, because she's like, yeah, he's a really weird one.
Yeah.
Why?
The guard said that too.
Why did she say that? Why? Like, what behaviors? And they didn't even... And I was just like, oh.
The other thing in that is, did any of that hit home with Caleb? Caduceus's words. You can't hide from your past. You can't change things. You have to move forward and make things right. Like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, Caleb is listening to
very
all
possibly,
of this.
Very possibly, because he was quiet.
Yeah, he was very
most
quiet.
Of that.
And a very reserved expression.
Yeah.
That's the other thing I wanted to point out about that conversation.
Yeah. And in some ways, it fundamentally goes against Caleb's life quest.
Yeah. Yeah. Very much so. Or at least our speculation.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's interesting. We'll see. trying to think what. Then they had. So there's when you're GMing, there's a lot of ways that you can do random encounters.
Yes.
A lot of people think random encounters involve combat, and Matt did a good job on Thursday showing how that's not the case.
Yeah.
Do we think now random encounters work best when you have a way to work them into the narrative?
Yes.
Which is why making your own random encounter table is the best way to do it. But that is the second shady instance coming out of Trust and Wilde that they've had.
Yeah.
Because the first one was Bo stealing the mail and finding the gentleman.
Right.
Were those gemstones important to somebody?
Oh yeah.
Do you think we're going to see them on the Menagerie Coast?
You know,
because it was either payment to somebody for stuff from there, or it was payment to someone in Trust and Wilde from someone from there.
You know, right now, I'm wondering if, as Gustav left, he's on his way there to get the gems.
I hadn't thought about that.
I just thought about that as you were talking about it.
And the circus actually was going to Nicodranus.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Although I think
more likely
their assumption about the writer was correct, that he was the one going to get
more than likely. And the other thing I wondered, and what I wondered when I watched it, is are they circumventing one of the gentleman's payments?
Did they just steal from the gentleman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we know he's got contacts in Trust and Wilde.
Yep. And we know he has a few people on the Menagerie Coast too.
Yeah, we
Ford
do.
asked him about it.
Yes, Father something, the dwarf.
Yeah. Now we talked about how we expected this episode to be a little more combat heavy because we hadn't had.
Yeah, I expected something.
Yeah. And because he had fast forwarded, I thought it was going to be super combat heavy.
Yeah.
Matt only had one prepared combat.
One that we got to. I think you said at dinner that he may have, someone may have said, hey, I wanted to stop here or there. Okay, we'll retcon that. And that took up a chunk of time.
Yeah.
So he had to cut down the number of battles.
That's true.
He could have had more battles planned. We don't know.
That's true.
But we had the dual Ettins.
Yeah. Do you think it's significant that there was two of them? Or do you think it's just a way of a game master saying that not everything in the book is 100% all the time?
I think it was a little bit of that and a little bit... I think it was that because he needed two of them to... just one would have been taken out too easily.
It's true. Yeah.
So he was like, I need this level. Well, I can do these two instead of one of something else. They'd be in this area. It'll let me show that. Because Matt likes to show that kind of stuff. Yeah. That it doesn't have to be, they're typically solo creatures, so they always have to be solo. Or,
And Matt's not one to strictly... Well, he's not usually one to throw an encounter at the party that they should really run away from.
Right.
That they... In theory, most of Matt's encounters, the players can win.
Yeah.
With very few exceptions. The Vecna fights were not that way.
Yes.
And they wisely ran away from him the first time and got away.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Like, what took me out of that, though, is, like, Matt narrated that there was, 50 guards guarding the gate and, like, a line of carts, wagons, traffic.
Yeah.
Going in and out. But there was no one else in the past the road that they were on. The Ettins hadn't ambushed somebody before.
Yeah.
Like, to me, probably a better way to get them involved in the fight, because I mean, Taliesin almost got him right by it.
Yeah.
With his calm emotions, and then Liam casting fear.
Yeah.
They almost sidestepped that whole thing.
Yeah.
Which, when that was happening, like, my thought was, oh, so you're going to leave this for the next group of people that probably can't handle it?
Yep.
Because that's all that's going to happen, is these guys are just going to get the next one. But I think if Matt would have had them come across the remains
of a couple of wagons.
Yeah. That it would have... They probably would have fought faster. Because it would have said, oh, these guys are a threat.
Yeah.
Or even, like, have them... Like, the tip-off, because Caduceus heard it. So the tip-off could have been them arguing over, a child. And they come across it, and both Ettins basically both have an arm and a leg of the kid.
Yeah. Doing the King Solomon.
Yeah.
Cut it in half. The one who is disappointed, well, it was their snack. Cause they don't.
Exactly. But he didn't do that, so we got the encounter we got.
And it was good.
Yeah. It continues. We continue to see, and my point with people is that combat isn't a lack of RP. There's an element of RP in combat.
Yeah.
Especially in how you describe the way your character does something. And because I've noticed Ford seems particularly frightened all the time now.
Yeah, he does. He seems a lot more hesitant and stuff. Do you think that's because of Molly? Or do you think it's because of what happened with the capture?
Yeah, I think the capture has more to do with it.
Lorenzo.
I think they were all prepared for one of them to die. If it came down to it. Because that's just the nature of the work that they're in.
I think they were... Okay, so are you talking characters or players?
Both.
See, I think the players were prepared for it initially when the campaign started because they were such a lower level. But I think they had gotten to a point where...
Well, they fell into the level 5 trap.
We're good. And then they weren't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Level 5 trap is scary. I'm heading into it right now in our game. I just leveled to 5.
Yeah. So...
The two things that are scary, it's like you're at a good spot.
In general, you have enough hit points to take a few hits.
But then you've also got... It's the big slump to level up again.
Yep.
You know, because it's like 1 to 2 is no big deal. 2 to 3 takes a little bit. 3 to 4 takes 3 to 4 is quicker. Yeah. 4 to 5 is quicker. And then you're back down to it takes a while.
Yeah.
You know, so you hit that slump, so you have to be good with where you're at.
Yeah. So yeah,
and ideally you have your fighting style down at that point.
Yeah. And Liam reminded Matt the routine every night. Liam's tiny hut.
Yep.
And
change the color.
Yep.
Here's a question, okay? And this is something I had a question last week. You didn't think it was going to happen. It happened. I said, when are we going to see Fireball?
Yeah. Yeah.
He cast it.
That.
Here's my question. Was that a spell he took when he leveled up, or was that something out of the spell book that he transferred over?
I think that is a spell he took when he leveled up.
Okay.
And
okay, so you're flipping.
I think he did not want to cast it. I think he purposefully prepared other spells to not prepare that one. Why he prepared that one for that day, I don't know.
Yeah.
Other than, I think he was going to be relying. I think Liam has made the decision that if it's a ritual, he's not preparing it.
Okay.
Unless certain circumstances are met in his mind. And
That's
I think
fair.
that probably opened up a slot in that prepare.
Mm-hmm.
Or he looked at it and said, I have the glove for Scorching Ray. I don't necessarily need to prepare that.
Right.
I can prepare Fireball instead. Because there's been a couple instances, like in that fight with Lorenzo, if he had prepared Fireball,
right,
that would have been a totally different fight. Because he could have hit half them when they moved back.
Right.
He could have just bombed them.
Well, assuming he had it then. I mean, he could have taken it at the
level. Well, yeah.
He could have taken it at the level 6 level up.
Yeah.
But then again, if it was in the book, well, it's not a spell that I'm taking. It's a spell that's in here. I may as well have it. And then you're still right. He never intended to take it. That's why when you said you think he took it at a level up, I said, oh, so you're switching.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I go back and forth, but it makes sense both ways.
Yeah.
Because, and maybe Marisha's comment to him that fire is your thing is what made him decide
to go ahead and
to do it,
yeah,
to prepare it. But I've been mulling it over in my head whether or not Caleb takes Elemental Adept. Fire.
Yeah.
From a mechanics standpoint, that makes Caleb powerful, super powerful. From a role-playing perspective, you can view it one of two ways. Either he forgives himself in some way and embraces the fire, or he takes it and it just adds more mechanical pressure on him to use fire, which only provokes his PTSD more.
I think it's going to be the latter, and I'll tell you why. Caleb, whatever the roleplay is never going to forgive himself until he gets rid of the echo of Trent's training. Here's what I mean by that. He's trained as a government wizard. He's trained to root out the traitors. He's trained to burn people alive, no matter what the cost, even if it's own family.
Yeah.
He is still very militant when he thinks he knows what to do.
Yeah.
He still has no confliction about casting friends or suggestion or anything to make people tell him the truth, get the answers he wants.
Yeah.
And he is still using fire to kill people. He is still very much Trent's trained wizard. He may not be Trent's man, but he is still Trent's wizard.
Yeah.
And until he breaks that echo of Trent's training and becomes his own wizard, he's not going to forgive himself for what he did.
Yeah, I can see that. So one thing that I expect that will be retconned, or not necessarily retconned, but role played out in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Is Jester sending to her mother.
Okay.
Matt sort of blew by it in the moment.
Well, I didn't think he wanted to burn through 7 spell slots.
That's true. But her response to Jester, I think we'll see that.
Okay.
As part of the recap of last time, because it's going to be 2 weeks, so it's going to be last time you left off. You guys were going through these towns. You did this and that. You faced some Ettins, and you bought some animals, and they will have their thing, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Yeah.
But I think that's going to be part of the recap.
Okay. I can see that.
We're going to RP out that exchange, and Jester's mother's going to say, "You can't come here."
Yeah, don't come.
Yeah.
Don't. Although she's got this guy's self.
Oh yeah, well, she has ways to get around. I mean,
I think she's gonna do that, and her mother's gonna freak out when she's like, "I need to talk to you," and drops it, and she realizes who.
Yeah. Yeah, like she has ways to get there and not get caught.
Right.
I mean, she vandalized the Temple of Bahamut and got away with it.
Barely, but
so she can sneak into a brothel.
Yeah.
In her hometown.
Yeah. Real quick before we move on to the pound puppies. The one thing in Allfield that we didn't mention, they make mention of the guy who gave the letter, and they kind of joke about him.
Yeah.
And there's an interaction which kind of brought me back to the looking for smut. And that was when Bo's like, "Why are you so interested in everyone's sex life?" And Caleb kind of didn't know how to take that question. Do you think there's something there? Do you think that's just offhanded roleplay? Or do you think there's something in the backstory? I know he found spells in a smut book, and that's why he wanted to go, or at least that's what he said.
I think that comment is one of those comments that is off the cuff and is funny, and not much thought is put into it, but the effects of which are massive.
Yeah.
Especially with not conspiring with Jester last episode.
Mm-hmm.
To get his girlfriend involved, or ex-girlfriend. So yeah, I
think something's going to come of that.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know how big a deal it's going to be. But yeah, I think that's one of the. Well, the other comment made in that episode in the same vein is Caduceus's joke about Ford's death.
Yeah.
When Knott says, "How is Ford going to die?"
Yeah.
In a crash.
With a guy named Buick.
Now, if you watch Travis's expression when he said "in a crash," like he did sort of this, but there was a reaction there, and I think in some way, like that triggered Ford because he very nearly died in a crash.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons why he has kept the Mariner's armor, even though they haven't been anywhere near the ocean.
Right.
Because he doesn't want to die in a crash again.
Right. And again, that's why, and I know it's probably not going to happen, but I think thematically one of the best invocations for him to take would be the Gift of the Depths.
Yeah.
Gives him the swim speed, which the Mariner armor does. Gives him the ability to breathe water, and gives him the ability to cast water breathing once a day.
Yeah. Yeah. And if we're right about his patron, then that's probably what we're going to see.
Yeah.
Now, I mentioned last week that I thought this arc coming up is going to be probably 15 episodes.
Right.
And that they will end up being between 8th and 10th level before they head back to Zadash. What do you think they're going to be facing on the Menagerie Coast? Other than Tiamat.
I was going to say the Cult of Tiamat. I think there's going to be some political opposition. I think we're going to see something come to a head with Jester and the Noble Lord.
Okay. Do you think that happens right away, or do you think that happens on the way out?
I don't think it's going to happen right away.
Okay. I will take the opposing view.
Okay.
Just because...
I mean, I can see both.
Yeah, I can too.
I think she's going to be a little... What I think is going to happen, the reason I say on the way out, I think she's going to be overly paranoid about getting caught going in, and then she's going to relax and not be as guarded going back out.
I can see that. My take on it is...
She's Jester.
She's Jester, but also... I think she'll get to her mother, but that gives basically that interaction is going to have, if they even see her, because they may not see her.
Yeah.
And that's something I was talking to Tim about, that she may not even want to see them, or they may not want to see her.
Yeah.
But whatever narrative that he uses, we will be discussing Jester's banishment, basically.
Yeah.
The only question is, does them attempting to deal with that make the situation worse for the city?
I think it's going to depend on how they handle it. It'll have very much the potential to make things a lot worse.
Yeah.
But I don't think Matt's... I think Matt's the kind that's going to give him a way to, okay, you can drop this and keep the status quo. You can do something to make it better. You can do something to make it worse.
Yeah. Do you think... We just don't have enough information to speculate, really. But, because it's possible the guy's willing to forgive what Jester did to him if they do X.
Which will be something to humiliate, embarrass Jester.
Or one of his rivals.
Yeah.
Because if they can basically put him in power... Because we also don't know the power structure.
That's true.
Of Nicodranas.
That's true.
We don't know if it's sort of an oligarchy. We don't know if it's...
what it is.
Yeah, we don't know. So it'll be interesting. Because basically, in this first part of the campaign, what they're going to be doing is installing and building allies in all the towns that they're going through, so that in the end they can begin calling in favors to fight the big battle.
Yeah.
So they're building all these resources. So in the case of Jester, it's either going to be they have to put this guy in power or take him out completely.
Okay.
And they will make alliances within the power structure of Nicodranas in doing so. My guess is Nicodranas is 3 to 5 episodes of content before they head down to Port Damali. And I think that's going to be... So they're going to find something connected to Ford's patron in Nicodranas at the wharf.
Okay.
And so Jester's stuff's probably going to take an episode or two. Ford's stuff is probably going to take an episode or two.
Okay.
With the potential of another episode overlap for shopping.
Yeah.
Or mourning the animals, which we still have to get back to.
Yes.
And then we go to Port Damali. where we really get into Ford's backstory.
Yeah.
And also his patron, and also more hints of what's coming in the summer.
Yeah.
I don't think we see Ford's patron unless while in Port de Mali, and as we get closer, I'll be able to speculate more accurately. But I don't think we see him meeting his patron unless they go to the water Ashari.
Okay. Yeah.
And Matt has said that some of the things that the last campaign did will impact.
Yes.
And the water Ashari is a spot in the world that he can do that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
especially if the Kraken's, if that shield is collapsing.
Yeah.
And especially if they can say, well, on this date, it diminished this much. And then on this date, it diminished this much. And those dates correspond when Ford has consumed another weapon.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Every time he consumes something.
Yeah. Now, we joked about they're going into the Kraken's lair, and that could be a possibility, but it's also possible that that magic energy that his warlocks are consuming, he's using to break down that barrier.
Yeah, that's true. We got about 10 minutes left. You want to hit the pet store?
Yeah, let's talk about the pet store.
Oy vey.
My daughter also loves the idea of pets. And she doesn't get to have them in all the games that we play. And the last game that over the summer, she had a horse. She loved that, a pony, because she was playing a gnome.
Yeah.
That has passed on to one of the other players in our group. She now has a horse that means everything to her. And Liam made the observation that all the girls that his daughter plays with, they all want pets.
Yeah.
And,
well, we have one that's got a horse. We've got one that wants to try and tame a grown dire wolf.
Yes. Well, or just a wolf. They tried a wolf first. But yeah. And then the other one wants a griffin.
Yeah, the other one wants to steal a griffin egg from the Griffin Riders, and
so yeah,
the only one who realizes this is a bad idea has got the second lowest wisdom in the group with an 8. That may be a little bit of metagame on my part, but I don't think it is, but it isn't.
Yeah,
because my character wouldn't think that was a good idea anyway.
Yeah. So yeah, we have basically Matt dialing up the cuteness, and I think the animals he chose were specific to Marisha and Laura.
The owl and the weasel.
Well, no, just every animal on that cart, and in the order in which he presented them.
Okay.
Was just to tick the because every time
until the reveal.
Yeah.
Of a blink dog. I'm not sure if we have the right tags up for me to say what I almost said. So
yeah, the blink dog is going to survive. I think.
Is it?
I think. Just because it can teleport. It can get away. It's virtually guaranteed to escape. Anytime it needs to escape.
Okay, so it survives. Does it stay with the group?
No. But it's not going to be the first one to run away.
Are they going to run away or are they going to be eaten?
The weasel will be eaten by Knot.
Yes. I mean, he ate
probably the next episode. Yeah, Knot has eaten Frumpkin twice.
Yeah.
So yeah, that weasel's toast. That's just trail rations that can walk. The owl is going to run away first chance it gets.
Okay.
And that's going to be really soon because they didn't buy a cage. And I don't know if they really have a perch for it either. So like he sold them food for them, but none of the other accoutrement. He didn't narrate it with. They don't have a hood for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that owl's gone. With a caveat, and that is only if it doesn't run away. If Caduceus befriends it.
Okay. Yeah.
I think Caduceus is the key to keep the owl there, and probably
the blink
dog training.
Okay. Well, blink dogs understand Sylvan.
That's right.
So.
Hasn't he mentioned he speaks Sylvan?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So yeah, he can.
And I don't know if any of the others know Sylvan, but I think that Caleb does. I'm like 80% sure Caleb knows Sylvan as well, because I think Caduceus mentioned it at one point when they were going to rescue them, and Caleb said that he spoke it as well.
Okay.
So we've got 2 people in the party, barring special abilities to talk to animals,
and
because it's not a beast, so he can't use that ability. He can use with the owl and the weasel on it, because that ability specifically says beast, and a blink dog is a fae.
That's right. Yeah.
But
so speak with animals is a cleric spell.
That's true, which means Jester can use it and Caduceus can use it.
Well.
But
will that work on the blink dog?
I don't know.
I'd
have to relook the spell.
Yeah.
But it understands Sylvan, and we have at least 2 people in the party who can speak Sylvan.
Yes. One of which hates it.
Yes.
Because Liam said, keep the blink dog. I love it. Caleb hates it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be funny. When
Drunk Knot tries to ride the blink dog and it teleports and she drops on her ass.
Would she though?
Yeah.
Because I believe it's the blink dog uses a form of Misty Step, which you can bring people with you.
I think it could be ruled either way. I believe there is I don't know if there is in 5th ed. Let me caveat this with it may not be in 5th ed, but I know it's in earlier editions. There are special saddles for blink dogs that allow you to go with the blink dog.
Time is a precious thing. Never wasted. Time.
So if that carried over, then yes. If it did not, then no. But yeah, I believe you're right. I believe the way it is worded now that you wouldn't need the saddle. Yeah. But I know in earlier editions you did.
I think Knot definitely tries to eat the weasel. First opportunity she gets. I think the owl tries to run away. First opportunity it gets. And I think the blink dog probably sticks around. If for no other reason, then it will scavenge off their kills.
I think they will all last at least an episode and a half.
Yes. Yeah.
So, theories for Thursday. Where do they go straight off?
Well, this Thursday is Liam's one shot. Do we want to talk about that, or do we want to just stick to the following week?
We got less than 3 minutes.
I think we've hit most of our predictions for this arc, at least in the beginning. Jester's mom, we're dealing with her story.
You think that'll be first?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
As for Liam's one shot, I put forward that it could be Werewolf the Forsaken that they play.
Yeah. It could be.
It's an outside possibility. I don't know how familiar Liam is with the system. I don't think very much at all.
Yeah. I think Talzin's the one who's familiar with
White Wolf, yeah.
And I think Matt is too.
Yeah. So it's more likely it's going to be D&D, but He said they're going to be playing werewolves. Or no. He
Werewolves
said it will
be heavily involved.
But he also said Travis will be to play the best version of himself.
Yes.
Travis desperately wants to be a werewolf. So I think they will be werewolves.
So are they werewolves, or are they a pack of people in a town, a group of people in a town that look for the werewolves, and one of them is secretly a werewolf?
I think they will be werewolves.
Okay.
And I think more than that, they are going to be connected to the werewolves from the Feywild that were in the swamp.
Okay.
Because it won't be the first time one-shots run by the players are tangentially connected to Tal'Dorei.
Very true.
Because the first appearance of...
although Matt did say it was a non-canon one-shot.
Oh, I missed that. Damn it! I guess we'll see you guys later.
See you guys. Sam and Liam are on Talks.